Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Denthros Campbell. Factories Corporation of Jamaica, the FCJ, is the country's premier provider of industrial real estate. The provision of commercial spaces supports the economic growth agenda to facilitate business investments. And we are joined by FCJ's chairman, Littleton Tanny Shirley, to discuss some of the projects being undertaken by the agency. So welcome to the program.
It's great to have us.
We're happy to have you.
Right.
Let's start by, what does the FCJ do apart from what we said in the intro? I'm sure we have much more to
Well,
tell
you
us.
can say we operate under 4 pillars.
Yes.
Pillar 1 is that we are a landlord, and then we are a property management entity, and then we are an enabler and facilitator for business investment and job opportunities, and then last, we are a developer.
Oh, excellent. Landlord. Nobody like who's what tell us
Right.
about that.
Well, landlord, the fact that we have over 105 properties under our management.
Yes.
And they spread across 13 parishes in Jamaica. So regardless of what you consider landlord to be, that is
Yes,
really
right.
the whole responsibility of ensuring that these properties maximize on their investment, give the right IRR on the investment that has been put in by government, and so that those investments are protected and maintained.
Yes.
And that's what we do.
So how do you choose an area? Tell me about the process in choosing an area to develop.
Well, outside of areas that we have already inherited and is on the books for us to manage, as an entity now that falls under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, really our task is to look at investment opportunities, where
Yes.
they are, what can facilitate investments that will bring job creation and bring return on our investment. So we are not just there to collect rent, but we are there to ensure that rent are at market rate, that you can bring a good return on your investment. At the same time, facilitating investment, ensuring that persons are able to occupy the space bring the type of environment that allow workers to work in an environment that is friendly, that is facilitate productivity. And the investor is at a location where his business can grow. So in looking at what we do, we have to be thinking through properly where we would invest. And this is a part of a joint approach both by the government and by the investors.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about an investor. So you're not talking about properties that are idle and you go develop them and then decide who takes them. How does it work?
Yeah, well, it could be a combination of, depend. For instance, use Morant Bay, for instance, where the government, and this is something that has been spearheaded
Yes.
by the Prime Minister. And I know that comes down the program,
Yes, right,
but typically you would look at a location and government will decide whether this location needs to be enhanced, what role it play in that particular parish. And then it would trigger off whether it is the right investment to do and how it would facilitate the parish on a whole and what it brings to the parish.
Oh, okay. So you would have to work with some other entities, right?
Sure.
Tell us about that.
Well, we try our best to collaborate with all the entities, whether it is DBJ, whether it is JAMPRO, whether it is UDC that has the overall umbrella for urban development and town development. So we participate, we try to engage to ensure that we get a holistic approach to what we're doing, and it's not just about FCJ, but the impact that we can have on a coordinated approach to what we're doing.
I'm glad you mentioned UDC because I think some people are confusing the roles of FCJ and UDC. Can you make a distinction?
Well, UDC is almost responsible for overarching town development. We are business people, so to speak. We have to see ourselves as business people because we are here to create the environment for business. So we have to understand business and we have to be part of the business. We are here to ensure that people can be employed. So we have to understand the dynamics of where persons are comfortable to be and the type of development you want to engage in, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is BPO processing, whether it is agro-processing. All these things become a part of our discussion and engagement with the various entities.
Right.
So that when we target a project, it has a beginning and it has an end that is, it bring real return on your investment.
Yes. Can persons come to you? You talked about DBJ just now. I know DBJ lend to small enterprises. Can persons come to you if they have an investment idea and you will walk them through? Or
sure, we are, as I said, we are the great facilitator for investment.
Exactly. Yes.
What we don't know, we will decide which agency is the best, and we engage that agents with us and the particular person of interest. But certainly what we do is we give advice.
Yes.
We look at our properties. We look at the deficiencies of them. We look at where we want to take them. We look at how it can benefit the persons who's occupying the space. And that's, we try to, as I said, be a good listener.
Definitely.
At the same time, being very proactive with taking us to a different level.
What are some of the projects that have already come on stream?
Oh, we've been working on 5 major projects now, and with the Mont Bay, the Nagahead, the expansion of Garmix, the Boundbrook Center in Port Antonio, and the adjoining Nagahead property that we are going to do a similar complex to what we are doing in Boundbrook and what we're doing at Mont Bay.
Okay, excellent. We continue the conversation on the other side of this break with FCJ's chairman, Littleton Tanny Shirley. Stay with us. Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with FCJ's chairman, Littleton Tanny Shirley, on projects being undertaken by the agency. So let's take the projects one by one. There are 5 major projects, right? Let's start with the first one at Nagahead Technology Park.
Well, Nagahead Technology Park is in the final stage to get rolling. We have done a lot of preparation work. It's going to be the largest technology park to be built out in Jamaica to facilitate the BPO industry. It is anticipated that we will be looking at the employment of some 15 to 20,000 persons with the amount of interest that we have shown from the BPO industry into the technology park.
So this is a brand new building? No, this is an old building or something?
No, it's a brand new development with cutting edge to meet the expectation of the BPO industry. You know, when they came, the BPO started getting off the ground, the demand was more than space we had. So a lot of these companies end up in buildings that had to be retrofitted and was not purpose built, and cost the BPO industry a lot of money to invest in retrofitting them.
Yes.
Now that the private sector, along with the government, is now spearheading the facilitation of these BPO companies, we are now more purpose-built, both from the government perspective and from the private sector perspective. And so these buildings are really designed to be the optimum expectation of the facility of the BPO companies.
When do you expect this to be completed?
It's a 2-year construction cost. We're talking about roughly 800,000 square feet of space.
Okay. So 2 years starting 20.
Well, we're hoping to break ground before the end of this year.
Okay, great. Talk to us about the Garmix Free Zone expansion.
Well, the Garmix Free Zone, Garmix, as you know, is under our management now is the largest industrial complex in the island, with some 545,000 square feet of space. We are 100% occupancy now, and the demand that we are getting on a daily basis. In last year alone, we lost out on almost over 400,000 square feet of space on demand. So that has driven us to now expand our facility, because we do have green space on the campus.
Oh, I was going to ask, what are you doing with it?
Right. So we are now expanding. We're out for tender for the first phase. Right. And once that starts concurrently, we will start phase 2, which will see us over the next 12 months building out approximately 345,000 square feet.
What's the purpose, though? What is the purpose of that expansion?
To facilitate the various demand for warehousing, agro-processing, manufacturing, which is the nature of our business at Garmex.
Great, great. So Morant Bay Urban Center is the big thing. Tell me about that. Oh, yes.
It is big thing because we feel very excited about it, because we're looking at a parish that the Prime Minister has gone to and recognized the demand for this parish to get off the ground. To really create opportunities that persons believe, and factually so, that there were no opportunities there. A lot of the business there were closed down. We had an existing space, which was the Goodyear, which was the center of job employment for many years in Morant Bay.
Right. So what are you going to have in the center?
Oh, well, again, it's going to be like a integrated complex. The whole concept is to merge and fuse government entities with private sector entities. So the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, has mandated through cabinet that all government agencies would be relocated there under a one-stop umbrella to create the efficiencies of government. And that is conceptualized to be a concept that will replicate across other parishes. So we have to make it happen and make it be a success. The fusion of government agents with private sector companies to make it financially viable and to attract the attention in a new urban center that will bring about security, order, good parking, and good investment opportunities, and create the level of awareness amongst the residents that they themselves can become a part of economic new growth and opportunities that we believe and are very confident based off the support and demand that we've been getting for the center will be the new dawn of how.
That's a huge center.
Of course.
So what's the time frame on that one?
Well, we have broken ground. We are doing the preliminary approval now, speaking with the various interest group to be more specific. And then after that, we hope that once we get brick and mortar out of the ground, it will be a 2-year period.
2 years, well.
Right. On a phase basis, the areas will finish before some, of course, and will allow for occupancy. So one of the things that we have been pushing is that as an agent of the government that falls under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, we want to ensure that not just build, we want to ensure that jobs will be there, but people will be able to take up these jobs, because it's nice to provide jobs, but if you don't have the people in the parish prepared to take on these jobs. So we have been working with Heart Trust NTA. We have been working with all the various agents. Just 3 days ago, we had a town hall meeting over there where the residents in St. Thomas to engage about their accessibility and their preparation for jobs.
All right, good. And you're going to Portland as well.
And we are going to Boundbrook.
What are you doing there?
We're doing a similar
Town centre as you're doing in St. Thomas?
Similar, but on a
Excellent.
smaller scale.
On a smaller scale.
Because we
okay.
have less land to work with.
Yes, yes.
But that also will be significant for the parish.
Yes, and you also do property divestment. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, we have been mandated by government to divest of 15% of our non-performing assets. And therefore, we are divesting of some of our properties. They were considered when we took over as non-performing. Now they are performing because we have done significant development on them, bring them back, and the demand now, as the economy grow and demand for space become greater.
Yes.
And we are seeing where most of these empty properties are now fully occupied, which makes the attraction for investment even greater. So we are getting more value for our properties. We are getting more demand.
So this would definitely have some kind of impact on growth.
Oh,
and
definitely.
So talk to us about that.
Yes, well, you know, while it is difficult for us to pinpoint the specific impact it might have on the GDP, we certainly know that we are creating opportunities for jobs. We certainly know that in all expansion that we are doing right now, we are when you do the summation of all the persons employed on our part, there's over 6,000. And that is operating under 1.7 million square feet. We now will be expanding over another million square feet of space.
Excellent.
So we believe that based off how we are structuring this expansion, we could see another 20,000 persons being employed.
Good job. A very good note to end on.
Sure.
This has been Get the Facts, and our special guest was Chairman Littleton Tanny Shirley of the FCJ. And to watch this program again, log on to our social media handle, YouTube/Watch JIS, and stay connected via our website at jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Anthony Campbell. Walk good.